Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to another Stationery Sunday. And today I'm going to be taking another deep dive into the humble but wonderful world of composition notebooks. Now, a week or two ago, I did a video on why I recently made the switch to composition notebooks. And specifically, I was showing and talking about the composition notebooks I had found at my local Office Depot. Now, I found them at Office Depot, which is a office supply store by my home, also Office Max elsewhere, same company. I found a deal. They were 50 cents a piece, but originally or regularly, they're $3.99 a piece, which is way too expensive for me. So I stocked up. But a lot of you out there said, whoa, 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 there were even better deals out there. And so I went to every store, at least every typical discount store I can find in my area. And today we're going to do a quick test of all of them, looking at size, paper quality, binding, all that good stuff, including price. So again, this is the one I'm familiar with, which is from Office Depot. But we're also going to look at Walmart, which right now, a lot of you clued me in. Thank you. They're right now 38 cents a piece at Walmart. Now, if you've got a problem going to Walmart, I hear you. But please know that when you buy things like this at Walmart, it's actually what's considered a loss leader, which means the company, the store, actually loses a little money every time you purchase something at such a cheap price from them. That's because they use deals like these, such as back to school time, in order to get you in the store to buy even more. So just bear that in mind. But we're going to compare the Walmart 38 cents pen and gear composition notebook. We're going to look at Target. Target surprised me because Target had not one but two different options. They have a new deal-worthy brand for 65 cents. And by the way, all of these come in different colors, color choices with the typical marble cover. And I know some of them even have fancy drawings and designs. For the purposes of this video, I am just comparing, or at least trying to compare apples to apples. So they're all going to have that marble black and white cover. But Target had two options. The deal-worthy brand for 65 cents. And there's a little trick to this, or a little surprise in this notebook that I'm going to share with you in a second. But they also have their Up and Up brand. So Target right now had a deal. You could either get the deal worthy for 65 cents or the Up and Up brand for 99 cents. In regard to the Up and Up brand, they only had solid colors. I could not find a marble cover. So I just picked up a green. Lastly, this is not a budget option. However, I do typically like the Mead 5-star brand because it is very sturdy. So I purchased one that piqued my interest. Again, not budget. That's $4.99. I got this at Target. Presumably, you could get this on Amazon too. But I like the feature of a built-in customizable notebook cover. As you can see here, it does feature just a clear cover. You can slide whatever design in there that you want. And it comes with a piece of paper. You can put your class and teacher and all that good stuff. But truth be told, I already know I hate this one, but I'm going to leave you in suspense as to why. But first of all, let's go ahead and try some of these out with two different pens. I use Pilot G2 gel pens when I want different colors. And I use a Bic Glide Bold 1.6 blue ink. I only use blue ink. That's my thing. And I always prefer a bold point, preferably 1.6, but I won't write with anything less than a 1 point bold, or excuse me, a 1 point millimeter. It just feels too scratchy to me. The other tools that I use in my notebook or my note taking are tank style Sharpie highlighters. Specifically, I love the very mild color of the pastels that Sharpie offers. I'm going to leave a link to as much of this as I can down below in case you're curious to check it out. Or, shameless plug, go check out the analog Alcove on my website. I'll leave a link to that below as well, where you can check out links to all of my favorite, current favorite anyway, stationery supplies. But I really like the tank style. These come in a smaller version as well, a slimline or a pocket highlighter. But I have psoriatic arthritis, so I find these very easy to hold. They're chunky, and the ink just goes down really, really saturated, so I really like that. So we're going to look for bleed through, we're going to look for color application, we're going to look for all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and start with the Office Depot. All right, so this is the Bic Glide, and it's going down just as I would expect, just as much as I enjoy it. This is a 1.6 bold. Then let's try, now, truth be told, I have not tried the gel pen in this. This is a Pilot G2 blue, and this is bold as well. And this is a 1.0. Honestly, I haven't tried, like I said, I haven't tried the gel. Let's see if there's any bleed through. No. I mean, you can see some faint ghosting, but I see no ghosting at all on the ballpoint pen, and just a tiny, tiny bit on the gel. Now, let's try some of the highlighters. I'm going to try some of the darker colors, and we're going to see if those bleed through or not. No, very, very minimal. I wouldn't even call it bleed through. I'd call it ghosting. So while the paper quality is very thin in the Office Depot, I mean, you can hear that crackle, there's little to no bleed through. And that is what I expected. So, yeah, great quality on this. It's got a nice, firm cardboard cover. And I do like that it has a very minimal design on the front, which leaves me the opportunity to put my own cover on there. So, yeah, that's the one I know and love. But thank you to so many of you who spoke up and said, hey, wait, Walmart, Target, they've got deals too. So 38 cents was the absolute cheapest. Not surprisingly, that came from Walmart. Now, comparing it to the cover of the Office Depot, it also has a nice thick cardboard cover. Let's check out the paperweight here. That actually feels a little thicker than the Office Depot. Yeah, that is a lot thicker than Office Depot. Something else I like to look at, I prefer a very faint rule. This is just me, you do you, no judgment. Don't judge me, please. I prefer a wide rule. In fact, just like I won't write with anything less than a 1 pen tip, I will not use I like legal rule. Legal rule is the same as wide rule for all of those who don't know, but I refuse to use a narrow or a college rule paper. I hate it. But I also prefer a very faint blue or rule line. Both of these I would say are moderate. If I'm honest, I think I prefer the blue color rule or line in the Walmart. So let's check out how the paper feels to write on. This is the first time I've ever used a Pen & Gear or a Walmart composition notebook. This is a Bic Glide Ballpoint 1.6 bold. Okay, feels the same. This is a Pilot G2. Now you might be looking at this pen saying, no, it's not. Yes, it is. These fashion print Pilot G2 gel pens, they automatically come with a black ink barrel inside. Well, my husband doesn't, as he puts it, he just uses whatever pen is closest. So I Frankenstein my pens, and I buy the refills. I buy the Pilot G2 bold refills in blue, and then literally just gut the fashion pens and then put my my barrels that I like with my tip in these, just to make it look pretty. So Pilot G2 gel pen, 1.0 bold. Oops, let's spell correctly. There we go. And again, let's try some of the darker colors. Blue. Let's try purple. I'm going to double up there. Go over them again. And then red. All right. Moment of truth. Let's check it out. These pages are so thick, I feel like I'm grabbing two, but it is one. Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This has even less ghosting than the Office Depot. Look at that. That's definitely 2 pages. There we go. Yeah, I don't know if that's coming across on camera. But the Office Depot had a little more ghosting on the highlighter. And I even went over the same line of highlighters. So I would say so far the Pen & Gear is a better quality and a better deal at 38 cents than the Office Depot Office Max. So we're going to keep that there. And let's move on to the Target brand. You know what? Let's go to the cheaper Target version first. And I will say I do not like the black marble on the Steelworthy. I think it's too much. I like the more white space or more negative space on the Pen & Gear. But here's the thing with the Dealworthy. Watch what you can do. If you're real slow, this Dealworthy label can come completely off. Now, that can be a positive thing or a negative thing. I don't like I said, I don't care for this. This pattern, this marbling pattern on the Dealworthy notebook reminds me of static on a television. Ooh, I'm dating myself there, aren't I? But if you're anything like me and you've been around the block a few times, you remember the sound of that too. That, yeah, not a fan. So that's originally what I first thought of when I went to the Target back to school section and saw these. So there you have it. Took a little doing. I didn't want to rip it, but it did come off clean. There's a little adhesive left on here, and I've noticed that if you take a piece of tape or the same price tag or whatever, and you run it over the same spot, it pulls up the remaining portion of the adhesive. A little trick there for you. So anyway, it is cool that you can pull the label off, and it's the same on the other side. So I like that. There's no branding, which does leave a good consistent surface if you're going to put stickers on or some other cover of your own. All right, so we open it up. Let's compare it here. Once again, I prefer the lighter blue of the the lines in the Walmart brand. This is more dark. I don't know why. I'm not very excited about this yet. Let's check out the paper quality. Okay. That's flimsy. That's real thin. Much thinner than the Walmart. More similar to the Office Depot. But let's give it a go. Bic Glide. Pilot G2. I'm going to speed this along a little bit because I've got 2 more to go through and I don't want to make you wait. But I am curious how these all compare. Let's do blue. And let's go over blue twice. Or multiple times. I think I did that 4 times. All right, moment of truth. Let's check it out. Okay. There's a little bit of ghosting from the gel pen, but absolutely none from the highlighter. And I would say that this budget one, it's 65 cents from Target, did better than the Office Depot, but not better than the Walmart. So right now, Walmart, whether I like it or not, is doing better than Target and Office Depot, especially at that price, 38 cents. So let's check out the last one from Target, or at least the last off-brand, generic brand from Target. This is their Up and Up brand. It's 99 cents. I did like that this particular brand had solid colors. It didn't even have the marbling. That was kind of nice. The back, there is some printing, some branding. But let's check out the paper. Goodness gracious. I would say that's almost that's thinner than the Deal Worthy in my opinion. But let's check it out. This is a Bic Glide. This is a Pilot G2. And let's try our highlighters again. I feel like I'm getting heavier handed with all the highlighters the further into the testing I go. All right, let's check it out. Oh, wow. I don't see any ghosting. Huh, that's interesting. That surprises me. I guess I just assumed that the Office Depot composition notebook that I'd been using and loving for the past couple weeks would be the standout winner, but no, not so much. I'm still going to give it to Walmart. Again, I prefer the color of the rule, has slightly thicker paper, and the price point, you just can't beat that. All right, so last but not least, this is not a budget option at all in any way, shape, or form. It's $4.99. However, I wanted to try it because, again, I like the 5-star brand. This was $4.99. The feature that stood out to me was this little built-in clear sliding cover. You can slide whatever. You could slide notes. You could use it as a storage pocket. You could use it for any number of things. I generally don't like the vinyl, or the, excuse me, not vinyl, the poly covers. Oh, I don't want to give away the inside here yet. I generally don't like the poly covers because they seem to be very thin and flimsy. However, the 5-star had a lot thicker poly plastic, and with the addition of this clear transparent slip cover, it made it even that much more sturdy. So I went ahead and bought it, even though I opened up the inside and peeked and hated it. I loathed what I saw inside. So, you know, I'm going to show you. I want to get your opinions on this because, I don't know, maybe I'm an old fogey. When you open it up, it's like, wait, what? What are these things, right? I did not like them. And if you, can this show up on camera, first of all? If you look over here along the edge, there are very faint triangles. Those didn't bother me so much because I thought, that might be good to use for like checklists and such, but I would prefer them on the left. But I loathed these little, they look similar to QR codes. And to be honest with you, it did not have any instructions on what it is exact. Yes, there is, it does. I apologize. 5-star study app download for free. So essentially what these are, I guess you call them symbols or marks to help you take a picture of your notes with your phone, and then you can store your notes digitally, just literally. I think it just equates to a picture of your notes. I personally hated that. Another thing I hated is this paper. It feels very flimsy. It sounds very flimsy, but it's smooth. Yeah, maybe I'm alone in this. I don't like a real smooth paper. I like a little grit. I like there to be some texture, some tooth to my paper. I find it gives me a better feel when I'm actually writing, especially with ballpoint pen. But yeah, I did not like the presence of these little registration marks. I don't know if that's what they're called. That's what I'm going to call them. I found it distracting, and get your technical hands off my analog supplies, please, and thank you very much. Not a fan at all, but for the sake of our testing here. All right, I stand corrected. I did like how that felt. It did feel good to write on the smooth paper with that ballpoint pen. Let's see, what is this? This is a Pilot G2. And let's do the highlighter test. I will say I'm finding it difficult to push the cover down on this poly covered notebook. It keeps wanting to pop back up. That would be annoying to me. All right, moment of truth. No, I can see it did. It made a ripple in the paper, but no ghosting, no bleed through. So yeah, okay, you are paying for better quality paper. I would say if you value a built-in customizable cover, and these little registration marks didn't bother you. $4.99 for a notebook that is going to supposedly stand up to a year of use and abuse, which is their guarantee. Lasts all year guaranteed. Then this might be the way to go. This notebook had 120 sheets. Something else worth noting is the Pen and Gear only had 80 sheets. The Target had 70. Office Depot, I don't even remember, was 100 sheets. And then the Target Deal-Worthy brand had 80 sheets. So that was the same as the Walmart. So for me personally, yeah, not going to be buying any more from Office Depot. I'm going to nix that right now. The Target Up and Up, I don't know if the 99 cents is really worth the extra 30 cents, 34 cents is worth this cover, because I like to cover my composition notebooks anyway. So I would go with either the Target Deal-Worthy brand or, yeah, Walmart. Go stock up on those loss leaders. And I will say that now is the time. If you are a stationery or an office supply lover like me, it's time to replenish your stash for the rest of the year, because you are not going to find better deals than you will now. So, run, don't walk. And in my opinion, it is the best time of the year. So there you have it. That was a fun look and comparison of all of the discount retail store options I could find for the composition notebook. I hope that you will catch me next time in a future video, because I just recently found out that my favorite company, well, the company that makes my favorite index cards, Oxford, also makes a composition notebook, and I'm going to check that out in the next video. Until next time, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.